We are on the road on a farm near Ogallala, Nebraska. I'm Ken Rogers, joined now by Cindi Allen, who is a member of the Nebraska Dry Bean Commission. And Cindi, as we think about all the different crops that are grown in Nebraska, really when we look at western Nebraska, the Panhandle, dry beans, a big important part of the economy.
Well, I'll say, the western part of Nebraska is #1 as far as the producer of northern beans. We also grow kidney beans. On our farm, we grow a lot of kidney beans. Pinto beans are grown in the area, and also black beans. So with the western part of Nebraska, with the arid climate that we enjoy out here, beans grow quite well, and we're a huge supplier around the world of dry edible beans.
All right, as we look at the impact it has on Nebraska, let's also look at some of the things that you're doing in the industry. And recently you were on a trade mission to tout beans, not only Nebraska beans but others around the world. And so tell us about some of those recent missions.
My most recent one this year was to Dubai. It was a Gulf Food Trade Show, and as a result, the USDA recently released a report saying as a result of that trade show, there were 15 different trade representatives from the United States, and we were one of them, and it resulted in $225 million worth of exports in our commodities. Before Dubai, I also went to Ethiopia and Congo. We met with the World Food Program, and we also met with a nonprofit organization called International Partnership for Human Development, and they bring in food for children in the schools, and dry beans is a big part of that because it's high in protein, high in fiber, high in antioxidants, and it's a great replacement, low fat, no fat replacement for protein. So sometimes, that school lunch is the only meal that those kids will get, and that is an incentive for their parents to send them to school instead of keeping them at home to work.
Well, sounds like a lot of opportunities. So speaking of opportunities, recently you also received word and received an appointment on a very important trade advisory committee. Tell us about that.
I'm really excited to be able to represent our industry at that level. The advisory committee is appointed by the USDA Secretary of Agriculture, Tom Vilsack, and also the U.S. Trade Representative, Michael Froman. And the two of them determine who will serve on that committee, and I was recently appointed to that committee. I received my notice about a month ago, and we will have our first meeting in Washington, D.C. About mid-August. And the purpose of our committee is to advise on trade issues and policies.
All right, let's get down to the production part of beans. Maybe folks don't know it is a spring planted crop, and so really we're about halfway through the growing season. Are we quite there yet?
Well, this year we had a lot of rain, so some are delayed, and we are also delayed. Thankfully, we're growing kidney beans this year, and thankfully we have short season beans. Usually we plant them probably about the beginning of June, first week of June, and we'll harvest those beans in September, August, September, October sometimes. Maybe this year it'll be October by the time we got them in the ground. But, all this rain's been really good for us. Beans like cool weather, so we're trying to keep them cool right now since we have the heat that followed the rain, and we're really hoping for a good crop.
So with that, kind of give us a geography lesson, if you will, on where the dry beans are grown in Nebraska.
I think that we're the furthest east that you can grow dry beans. They're grown in Imperial, Ogallala. There's a few dry beans that are grown in the northeastern quarter of Nebraska, but the majority of them are grown in the Panhandle because of the climate that we have here. It's very good for growing beans. Scottsbluff is a major producer of northern beans. They're the largest producer of northern beans in the United States.
Okay, so then also give us a quick briefing of the checkoff board that you're on, and what role they serve, and maybe some of the issues that you all are dealing with.
Sure, like everybody else, we are are very cognizant of what our budget is and what our limitations are. I serve on the Nebraska Dry Bean Commission, and the Nebraska Dry Bean growers approached the commission and said, you know, we need more funding. We need more funding for research. We need more funding for promotions. And the mission of the Dry Bean Commission is to increase the consumption of beans. So as a result, the Nebraska Dry Bean growers presented an increase in the checkoff dollars to our legislature, and unfortunately this year we did get it through. So it moved up to 15 cents as far as a cap, and this will allow us to further fund research through the university, as well as have extra dollars for those promotion ideas that we have that we hope to increase the consumption of beans with.
We want to make sure we get that correct, the commission rather than the checkoff board, so we want to make sure that we get that straight. Well, all right, Cindi, well, we look forward to continuing our conversations and help, if we can, promote dry beans, as they are so important really to the bottom line of the state economy in Nebraska. So thanks for your time.
Oh, thank you, Ken, and thanks for giving me this opportunity to promote dry beans. They're a superfood, so I'm always glad to talk about it.
Cindi Allen, who is a farmer from Ogallala, has joined us. We've been talking dry edible beans in Nebraska. That is the Ag View. I'm Ken Rogers.